I'm Amanda, and this will be probably one of the hardest videos I've ever made, ever. I'm dressed as Alice from Alice in Wonderland, because I'm a magical girl in a magical world. And welcome to the Stories of Stories. I'm going to be reading off a script. I'm not very good at remembering scripts, but I'm really good at writing them. This is, I've been working on this project for months, but in truth, this story began when I was born. But it wasn't until this year that I spiritually awakened. I began to get a stream of intense signs. These signs came in the form of stories. Now they won't stop. When I think, a story pops up. When I'm at my PC, stories play out everywhere. Songs will blend into other songs and play out stories. I hear prayers, your stories, flooding me. At first I didn't know what it meant. I thought I was going insane. I watched so many conspiracies, they just flooding in like a dam broke. I came to peace that maybe I was overthinking, but the stories didn't stop. I watched a video on coincidences and realized maybe coincidences don't exist. And this was just my destiny. Perfectly placed videos, games, everything connecting. People's personal stories online that seemed to be like missing puzzle pieces, plucking themselves into my feed. No matter how much I scrolled, it didn't matter the platform. So I began to write. I like to write. I'm a writer, and I've always wanted to write. But write what? I never thought I could write Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter, and could never get my stories right. And I'd always begin and have an end, but never a middle. I wrote rebellion scripts, how to end capitalism, how to win against the baddies, how to dismantle religion, how to cure the hurt in people's hearts, but nothing felt right. I'd then get dreams where I'd see the outcome of these scripts, like someone showed me that they would fail, and how. So I'd start again, and prove more dreams. I don't dream much anymore because of medication, but it was like something is busting through that block and didn't give two shits. Then I began to see very scary patterns with my stories. Specifically around the Chinese zodiac, astrology, and math. Something was speaking, but when the divine speaks, it doesn't speak like I am now. I fell into depression, felt hopeless. I began to write dark things. I was swallowed. A man falsely claiming to be a prophet then said the rapture was coming. Something told me not to worry, so I waited, watched, wrote. It came and went. Then the man changed the dates. Then I realized he was setting up times I was originally going to release former scripts, former videos that never got to light. Was he predicting my plans? But he was wrong. God wasn't coming like he explained. The rapture wasn't coming, not as you were told. My stories of stories was coming. I kept getting too scared, though. Scared I'd fail. But now I must begin. People are dying all across the earth en masse. People are hurting and have been for centuries. I roleplay a lot. Check out the document I wrote on what roleplay is. Read my character blogs. They have a major part in the process I went through and leading up to this very point. Those are alters. I have dissociative identity disorder. I'm not going to explain the complexities of this condition. It is a trauma response to the things that I went through growing up. They contain my failures, lessons of what not to do, what not to wish. But here is the final story. Here is the real plot of the Stories of Stories. The enemy is about to consume the earth in this story, and this collection of stories is my attempt to bring earth together and world peace, a full awakening. You must have faith, because otherwise you will be hit. I messed that up. I don't want anybody to be hit. Because otherwise you will hit rock bottom, and it will hit you hard coming back up. I can't escape, just as much as you won't be able to escape. My stories are here to awaken all to how to be disconnected, to how disconnected we have become as people, because only together can we actually end all the suffering I've been witnessing. I believe, though, this series of stories can convince the earth that starvation, homelessness, mental health struggles, slavery, racism, AI slop, homophobia, transphobia, capitalism, and how all hurt can end. This is the true coming. I'm just a girl the divine chose. Don't shoot the messenger, and instead sit down and listen. I seek to achieve this before the next year of the snake. What is the year of the snake, you ask? The Chinese zodiac will be the first story in the stories of stories that I share with the earth. The Chinese zodiac is a 12-year cycle that gives us insight on prophecy through story, and also confirmation on unknown elements about a story depending on its year, date, and its astrology sign, and the elements combined. This is the true Trinity. Numbers, stars, and elements, the key to our universe. The first point is the Chinese zodiac. Every year, this cycle is assigned every year is assigned a cycle I'm a perfectionist, and this is really hard for me to overcome. Every year of this cycle is assigned one of the 12 animals from the Chinese zodiac story. Every year of this cycle is assigned one of the 5 elements that accompanies this animal. The elements are rat, ox, tiger, rabbit, dragon, snake, horse, goat, monkey, rooster, dog, and pig. The elements are earth, fire, wood, water, and metal. The astrology signs are Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. All the staple signs the divine speaks to us in our universe. Currently, it is 2025, year of the wood snake, according to the Chinese zodiac. Wood representing growth and a new beginning. Snake, who our enemy is. But I'll get on the snake later. So after 2025, the next year of the snake will begin 2037, which will be the year of the fire snake. After this will be the year of the earth snake, my and all of Earth's final year, 2049, just like the movie Blade Runner 2049, which depicts a bleak Earth where everything has died and robots have awakened with consciousness. For now, let's focus on 2037. This will be an insanely powerful year for the villain in our story. However, I believe I can show you how to unlock your own destiny before then. I believe I can save Earth. Though this story can't lead to a happily ever after alone. Right now, I am alone, and it feels dark. The Stories of Stories is an interactive choose-your-own adventure. Its genres are sci-fi, fantasy, horror, mystery, thriller, romance, action, drama, western, adventure, animation, comedy, musical, experimental, war, history, anime, fiction, religious, spiritual, and reality. It contains heavy adult themes while also being kid-friendly, so its rating is undetermined at this time. What even is a rating? The Stories of Stories seeks to make you a hero. The Stories of Stories seeks to unlock your true self that I see in everyone. My personal selection of stories will help people understand how to dismantle stories from their own lives, making this an incredibly personal journey for anyone that wishes to follow along. I seek to help teach everyone how to find the true context beyond the surface level of all stories. I seek to help teach critical thought, common sense, how to see the divine signs, and how to gain a high level of discernment. If you follow, absorb, allow yourself to hear and learn all the stories, you will soar and transform into a hero. It is all free. I will never monetize these videos. You arrived here for a reason. The Stories of Stories is a series of stories that makes one story. Our story. Our story. Everyone's story contributes to the story of stories. These stories are everyone's stories. Every book, every movie, every TV show, every commercial, every YouTube video, every single piece of media, even ads. Every story connects. I've spread stories all across the web, and some might not be all here on my YouTube for you to discover. You'll have to search. Every single story I've created contributes to the story of stories. If you are a big stan of something, there's a story there, and you are welcome to share your stories and contribution. In fact, the more passionate you are about something, the more powerful your story about that will contribute. Even if there's already a story about what you're passionate about and want to share, it will only add onto the stories to help others who might have completely missed something by reading somebody else's story. So your passion for something is very unique, welcomed, and encouraged to be shared. Even if you only love owls and think there isn't much story there. You collect owls, you wear owls, you sleep under owl bed coverings. Share your stories of owls, because you know the story of owls more than anyone else, and that story about owls is art, and you didn't know that you could create art from your stories of just owls. If you wish to share your stories to help build the stories of stories, I only have 3 rules, just like there is the Trinity. 1. The stories you share must hold some sort of truth of reality. Metaphors, symbolism, I'm going to butcher this word, but stenography and masking are all allowed to encourage and help deepen critical thought. Puzzles within stories are always welcome, though try to be mindful people are on all different levels of knowing how to decode a story. Also with language barriers, some more difficult and complex puzzles might be difficult to translate for some people. I'm encouraging translation of the stories into all languages so everybody can enjoy them. We aren't trying to just make the next Da Vinci Code, but at the same time, I welcome a challenge and promote you to challenge your own self. 2. The stories you share must promote heroism and not in any way promote Satanism, violence, rebellion, hurt, unless it is showing the dangers of evil. Stories where you have the perspective of a snake, where you get a glimpse of how evil operates, are welcome, but it must be made clear your story's intentions are to expose how a snake works, not to promote the actions that they take. It is allowed to share stories on how to use. It is not allowed to share stories on how to use selfish spells like hexing, manifesting material, toxic alchemy practice, manipulating other spirits, deceiving, manipulation, promoting of capitalism, and never should your story promote hurt of not only others, but the environment. The Stories of Stories aims to not only create world peace, but bring us back together and bring the earth that we all deserve to experience. 3. The stories you share must not contradict another story with intentions of hiding another story's truth or to replace another story entirely. All stories are vital, and multiple retellings of the same story are welcome to help deepen and strengthen the main overall story's truth. However, trying to completely replace another story is not tolerated and a form of attempted deceit, something we have already seen in several of the scriptures that now grace our earth. Every story someone shares is a work of art, and destruction of art makes you a snake, not a hero. A bonus rule is to never be a meaning head. No assholes, bitches, nasty hags, judgment, unwarranted criticism, negative talk, and overall hurt However, part of the process of completing the stories of stories is that many are in their herding state as a snake. The stories of stories is for everyone who seeks to know the truth. I'm a truth seeker, a storyteller, a passionate spirit looking to expose a villain. The villain of the stories of stories is always referred to as a snake. A snake can also be a wolf, an alien, a vampire, or even a robot. This does not mean snakes are all villains. A snake is someone who hasn't yet completed their journey through the stories of stories. A snake is someone who hasn't learned how to be a hero yet and is prone to negative projection as they progress through their hurt and find their healing. There's to be no racism, and that includes xenophobia. All snakes can be heroes, just like all humans can be heroes, just like all aliens, wolves, robots, vampires, and werewolves can also be heroes. All types of characters exist in the story of stories. All genders exist in the stories of stories, from male and female to everything in between. You are deciding on who you want to be as your own hero. Don't worry about what others wish to appear as their character in this story. Again, judgment isn't tolerated, and you cannot be a hero when you are judging others. All cultures, religions, spiritualities exist in the stories of stories. However, I will promote only spirituality, and I challenge you to leave your organized religions. They are holding you back. Prejudice isn't tolerated either and will stop you from becoming a hero. There's never to be discrimination in the stories of stories. You must challenge your own belief structure to succeed. Be open to new perspectives, experiences, cultures, languages, and so much more. Some snakes will never want to be a hero, and I will gradually explain the steps to passively capturing the true villains of the story of the stories, those that refuse to heal. Ultimately, no one is trying to control someone else in the story of stories. Just prevent a snake from hurting others, themselves, or the earth. You are a storyteller looking to be a hero of the story of stories, and must understand that hate and violence is never allowed, and will only send this story into an ending that will lead into a very bad ending, and it is one that we will all face together. Your consequences are mine, and that is why I cannot fail with my story, so you should not fail in yours. Violence and hurt and hate will keep you from becoming the true hero in the stories of stories. I repeat that. The snakes must be captured and never harmed, because in the stories of stories, hurting people hurt, and hurting makes you a snake. If you hurt, you pass on the hurt, and they will hurt. Then, while they hurt, they will pass on the hurt, and the cycle will never stop. If you wish to contribute to the stories of stories, you just have to add the tag SOS Roleplay. You can contribute on any social platform, anywhere. I'm also on my journey to being a hero. I'm not a perfect storyteller. I'm not a perfect teacher. I'm not a perfect human. I'm just trying to do my best to share what has been gifted to me. The stories of stories is a roleplay where you decide what you become, how you contribute, and ultimately help the rest of the heroes reach their fantastic ending of love. If you need to know what roleplay is, please give this document in my link tree a read. Perhaps in the future I will break it down in a video. Roleplay is for everyone. Roleplay is a way for you to put on a mask and feel confident enough to tell a story. Sometimes very truthful and scary stories. Stories of trauma, horror, and other genres that might be scary for some, so ensure to give a warning of its triggering themes. There are also kids who will be part of the story of the stories, and some stories they need to wait till they are older to understand. So put on a mask and tell a story of truth. Don't be shy, because I'm full of anxiety, and I'm shy myself. I've worn a mask for a very long time, because all of our stories matter, even those filled with lies made by the snake's spies. I hope you enjoy the ride and find your role within the stories of stories. Our first story of stories is the full tale of the Chinese zodiac. I've lost it. I've lost my first story. This is good. This is a good start. I bury things because they're hard to face. Maybe that's a story in itself. I found it. Okay. I'm going to read this story from our website. This is the original story that came to me about the Chinese zodiac. According to myths, the 12 animals of the Chinese zodiac were selected through a race. This race was meant to create time measurement for people so that time could be forever recorded and documented easily, and patterns could be recognized. There could only be 12 winners, and in order to win, the animals had to cross a rapid current river and reach the finish line on the shore. Originally, there was a cat and a rat who hated each other with a passion. It's hard to believe they were once friends. These were two of the worst swimmers in the animal kingdom, but they were both smart. They discovered that the fastest way across the river was to hop. I gotta sneeze. My nose gets itchy when I'm under pressure. They discovered that the fastest way to cross the river was to hop on top of the ox. The generous ox agreed to carry them across the river. However, the rat was so eager to win that he pushed the cat into the water. Thus, the cat never forgave the rat and wasn't included in the race. Afterwards, the ox and the rat made it to shore. The rat jumped in front of the ox and came in first in the race. The ox came in second, and the tiger finished third, possibly a metaphor for the cat that had lost. All of a sudden, a loud thundering sound came. It was a rabbit. It jumped from one stone to another and was doing well until it slipped. Fortunately, there was a log floating by, and it grabbed onto the log and floated to the finish line, earning the fourth place in the race. And so we begin down the rabbit hole. In fifth place was the dragon. I was born year of the earth dragon. Earth, where we came from, because from the earth we rise, and the earth we will return back to as dust. Everyone thought that the dragon would win first place because it could fly. It told the Jade Emperor that it had to stop a couple of times to help villagers. And so, on its way to the finish line, it saw a little rabbit on a log and decided to give a little puff of air to help it to shore. After the dragon, the horse came galloping towards the finish line, about to score sixth. I'm getting my things mixed up. The sneaky snake was hidden beneath the horse's hoof. It suddenly appeared, and the horse was scared. The snake took advantage of this and landed itself sixth place, and the horse landed seventh. This is why the snake has been made the villain in our story. They are a cheater. Soon after, the monkey, the rooster, and the sheep landed onto the shore. Unlike some of the previous animals, these three actually helped each other to get to the finish line. The rooster found a raft, and the monkey and sheep hopped on. Working hard together through the water currents and reeds, they reached the shore. The sheep came in 8th place, the monkey in 9th, and the rooster in 10th place. The call of every dawn. In the 11th place was the dog. Even though it was a great swimmer, it was late. It told the emperor that it needed a bath, and fresh water from the river was too tempting. Right when the emperor was about to close the race, an oink sound was heard. It was the pig. Lazy little pig. The little pig felt hungry in the middle of the race, so it stopped, ate something, then fell asleep. After it awoke, it finished the race in 12th place and became the last animal to arrive. The order of the lunar calendar follows the outcome of the race, where the rat is the first animal to start the sequence, and the pig is the last. After the pig, the sequence starts over again. The lunar calendar has been a significant calendar in China in the Chinese zodiac. Many parts of the world are also familiar with this calendar, though we have slowly forgotten as we adopted their 300 bullshit calendar. The bullshit calendar. It's just bullshit. The Chinese zodiac story is a very important story about how in society we all have a place. We all have a destiny, and we are all brought here for different reasons. And we all have different strengths and weaknesses based on our animal and the element that we were born in. So thank you for letting me share that first story. Let's talk about the origin story behind the Chinese zodiac. The Chinese zodiac story was uncovered during the Han Dynasty within China. Emperor Liu Bang had the Chinese zodiac become a staple story among his people, and it widely spread as the story held extreme truth in its tale. The Chinese zodiac is a story that triumphed through time. The Chinese zodiac is a story that existed before many other stories of today, and especially many other scriptures. The Chinese zodiac is a story that has not contradicted other stories. Emperor Liu Bang was born within an unknown year. It is theorized he was born 247 BC, year of the water pig. He died I messed up the years. He was born 195 BC, year of the earth pig, and he died 247 BC, year of the water pig. The Chinese zodiac was discovered within an unknown year. The Chinese zodiac, in theory, is a story that was created at the dawn of the earth and merely was waiting to be discovered. The Chinese zodiac story was officiated to the public somewhere between 206 BCE and 220 CE. That gives a gap of 14 years, so determine the exact year is impossible because it is an entire 12-year cycle within that gap. Narrowing down the exact year is impossible because of this. However, we know that it must hold truth, as Emperor Liu Bang was born in the year of the pig and then died also in the year of the pig. First risen from the earth and then was taken away through the water, a sign of reflection. Thank you for listening to my stories today. And that is all for today, for I'm a bit exhausted. Don't forget to always be expanding your mind, and I hope that you will explore this Chinese zodiac story for yourself and learn when you were born and share it. Don't forget to like and subscribe and give the comments a bump and share a story, perhaps one about your own zodiac sign, and how you feel you're related and how that has been somehow connecting in your life. Because it has been, and you haven't seen the signs. Don't forget to also pay attention to the element you were assigned. Google can tell you this all. You just put Chinese zodiac, your year, and then element at the end, and it will give you all the information. Peace, love, and immerse into a good story. I forgot to add that the next story will be unlisted on my channel. You can find it in the description box. Its topic will be about death and the cycle of death and basically how rebirth happens. And if you're not ready for that type of story, I suggest maybe skipping it for now until you're ready to face that topic. It is very graphic and one that is full of horror. But I do challenge everybody to face this story sooner than later.